Good evening and welcome. My name is Nick Edwards. I'm an executive business coach, and my whole focus is to be able to guide leaders to greater results. You know, everyone has goals and dreams of things that they want to accomplish, whether it's in their business, in their community, or even in their family. And so what I do is work with small businesses to national corporations to help them achieve the dreams and goals that they have. Tonight, my desire is to help Forney move forward with these three men who are running for mayor of Forney. What I want to do is ask some hard questions. I want to ask for us to find out a little bit more about who they are and where they desire to see our city go. Throughout this time, we're going to ask some good questions. We're going to ask some hard questions. I've already told them I'm going to give them some nice, easy questions, but we're also going to be able to learn more about who they are and their vision for our city. So what's the purpose of tonight? Well, a couple things. Everything rises and falls on leadership. That's what John Maxwell says. So we know that an organization, a community can only go as far as its leaders. So how do we make sure we have the best leaders in place, the right people in place with the right systems to achieve extraordinary results? That's our goal tonight. Find out a little bit more about who they are, what's their vision, how they plan to lead the city forward, and what it means for us as voters. I'm so grateful for each of these men to join me tonight, but I also have to give a few special just thank yous to people who made this happen. First of all, Jenny Watson. Jenny works as my marketing director. She's also the one that runs 410 Studios. That's where we are tonight. 410 Studios is set up for individuals and businesses to come in here and to be able to have a podcast, to share their story, to share what their business is all about. If you want to find out more about that, make sure you check out 410studios.com. Jenny, I really do appreciate you and the impact that you've had on my life and this business. Also, I have to give a couple special shout outs to these guys behind the cameras, behind the scenes that are making things happen, Colby Ash and Matt Martindale. These men have been working tirelessly to make this whole studio happen, and I am so grateful for their hard work and their partnership with me to create the studio and to create this event tonight. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me introduce you to the people, these three men that I'm sitting at the table with tonight. First off, all the way over to my far right is our current mayor, Jason Roberson. Let me tell you a little about him and what he gave me as his bio. He is a preacher's kid from Spring, Texas, just north of Houston. He grew up in awe of watching his dad do ministry. He married Takesha, his college sweetheart, in 2002. They have two teenage sons who are enrolled, son and a daughter, right?
Yeah, get that right.
I'm not going to make that mistake. And they're both enrolled in Forney ISD. Jason was first elected to the Forney City Council in May of 2021 as council member place 6. During that time, they were proactive on many fronts, including pushing for the city's first forensic audit, coordinated a comprehensive plan for the city's retail and housing future, and making the American Rescue Plan funds available to small businesses and to residents in need. In May of 2023, he was elected as mayor with receiving over 70% of all votes cast. Outside of his public service, his professional background is in communications as a journalist, public relations executive, and a ghostwriter of nonprofit books. May I need to talk to you about helping me write my book right now. That's the resource I need. Jason said this. He said, being an attentive listener and a willing learner are common threads between his public service and his professional roles that have allowed him to move forward. Jason, thank you so much for how you have led our city and served our city over the last 4 years, and I appreciate you being here tonight. Can you take 1 minute and just tell us a little bit more about who you are?
Well, first of all, Nick, thank you so much for this platform. Thank you for the opportunity for the citizens of Forney to be able to meet all of us. And I want to thank my fellow candidates. It's been a pleasure getting to know them. Anytime somebody can put your name in the hat, that's a big, big, big step. So
Absolutely.
Thank you all for just contributing. Thank your families for allowing you to do it, because it's definitely a family decision. So I'm grateful for that. And, for the 20 seconds I have left, I just want to say family first. I love my family. I wouldn't be here without them. And they're the reason why I believe all of us decided to do this. We want to make this a great place for families. Thank you.
Absolutely. Appreciate that. Sitting next to him is Mr. Weston Teamer. Weston was born and raised in Forney and graduated from Forney High School in 2012. Did I get that right?
Yes.
2012. Before enrolling and graduating from the University of North Texas. Currently, Weston is the regional director for Anytime Fitness. He and his wife, Catherine, have been married since 2019, and they just had their first child, Naomi, less than a month ago.
Yep.
So you got a newborn in the house. So why don't you take a minute and tell us a little bit more about who you are?
Of course. We have a newborn, so that changed a lot of things. For me, being raised in Forney, my whole family's here. Some of my family have moved on and moved to different places, but in Forney, we were all very close. Grandma was here, Granny was here, so it was real close knit, and that's something that's been a huge blessing. And we have had stints where we've tried different areas as far as maybe living in Canton for a year, but it always brought us back. So like nothing, you can never escape home, even though if you want to try. And we've been blessed to buy a house right behind my parents. Born and raised in a Lutheran church with my parents that we still go to together to this day. And basically for me, it is family. So like family is the main motivator of things and how they've taught me to go about my life, like service and doing more with your time and your talent and your treasures than just working, basically, trying to make money.
Yeah, very good. One of the things you said in your bio is that Weston said he feels that we are called to serve. It is our duty as Christians and citizens to serve our community.
Correct.
Very good. Well, sitting next to me is Mr. Kaz Tankersley. Kaz was born and raised in Lufkin, not far from here. After high school, he attended and graduated from Prairie View A&M. Kaz works as a bank examiner. I actually had to look that up to understand what exactly that was. He performs risk management examinations for community banks. He has done this job for over 15 years in Shreveport, Austin, Atlanta, and now in Dallas. He's also served on the Forney Board of Adjustment and Building and Standards Committee for the City of Forney for several years now. We okay there, guys, behind the scenes? All good? So we are a live show. They're going to make some adjustments for us as we go. Kaz and his wife, Crystal, were married in 2019 and moved to Forney in 2021. They have a 2-year-old daughter, Remy, and his family attend Lake Point Church, where they serve as door greeters and serve in the kids ministry. Kaz said this: I want to do more and impact our community because I love this city. Man, Kaz, thank you so much for being a part of tonight. Why don't you take a minute and just tell us a little bit more about who you are?
Okay. Thanks, Nick. My name's Kaz Tankersley. I guess you already know that. I have been in Forney a couple of years, but what I would say the biggest thing is that Forney chose us. And it's been a pleasure that it chose us because we have made amazing relationships here, met the most creative people, and it's just been an eye-opening experience to be here and a pleasure to sit alongside these gentlemen. So, but also, I guess, I don't know if this is Price is Right style, but hi, Mom. Hi, Crystal. Hi, Remy. That was just a quick one. Sorry.
Yeah.
But outside of that, no, I love to work out. I love to play tennis. I love to be active in the community. And that's why I'm here to step up for this.
So me and my wife moved here. I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I think in 03. And the city has changed a lot during that time over the last 20 plus years. And so now with 3 daughters, 21, 18, 15, new baby, high school kids, 2-year-old at home. These things are important to me because this is where my family is. You talked about family. And so this is real life things that everyone's having to look at and deal with and going, do I want to raise my family here? Do I want to keep my family here? There's plenty of people moving in. If you're not aware, the city of Forney has grown quite a bit in the last couple of years, right? You've obviously known that with the traffic and everything that comes along with that. But there's also people moving out. And so why do I want to keep my family here? I think it's a question that a lot of people have to ask. So let me just start off with an easy question for you. And Mayor, we'll start with you. What inspired you to run for mayor then and maybe even continue to run for mayor now?
Well, the position is like a perfect marriage of my skills and my passions. You mentioned earlier that I'm a preacher's kid. I didn't get Dad's passion for pulpit ministry, but what impressed me was his work Monday through Saturday, visiting the sick, going to the hospitals, going to jails, counseling with people. And so that love for people just kind of rubbed off on me. And Dad had a simple formula: K plus O equals R. Knowledge plus opportunity equals responsibility. So if you've got
Ooh,
the
I like
knowledge
that.
to do something and the opportunity presents itself, then it is your responsibility to be active. The knowledge comes from a career in journalism, covering business, looking at the growth of cities, what worked, didn't work, as managing editor of the Dallas Business Journal, working for the Dallas Morning News, whatnot. Knowledge from in the MBA from TCU. But it's that knowledge plus the passion together in this role, I think, makes it a great fit. I want to be able to continue to see some of the projects come to fruition. We've got a hospital coming, right? We've got
Huge.
Costco, we've got HEB, all of these exciting things, and even some more new entertainment announcements that we've recently had a chance to talk about. But all of that is things moving in the right direction. I just want to keep it going.
Love that. Man, I love that. If you miss that, knowledge plus opportunity equals responsibility.
Yes, K plus O equals simple
That-
formula.
That comes with some weight, that's some responsibility that you have to be able to do.
Yeah, and sometimes I get it wrong, but we try our best.
All right, very good. All right, Weston, same question to you.
Yeah. For me, it goes back to we're put on this earth to serve, as far as how I was raised, very, very Christian household, and watching the service go through my family. I've been given the opportunity to have my schedule open to where I can put more time into that service. It's more of a thing to where I can manage my time better as a more, I would say, mature adult. I still, have some immaturity at times, but
I think we
as
all
a,
do.
yeah, as a mature adult, when you schedule your time correctly, you can put more of your heart into a city you already love. So basically, the things I do now outside of everything that's going on here, it just comes to a forefront. So all the plans that I've already had for Forney just to do it on a silent capacity, it's more, I want to keep doing that whether this happens with mayor or not. Like, my heart is in this town. Like, my people are in this town, and my whole life's this town. So why not come to serve, whether it be mayor or whether it be just volunteering in general? The city needs more volunteers. Like, it needs
Absolutely.
people willing to serve, not just as mayor, but for other city projects, for volunteer police, for whatever you can get your hands onto. The city needs it
Absolutely. Love that. And as we grow, that need continues to rise.
at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And it's a humbling thing. It's rewarding. You're not chasing a buck. You're chasing, I wouldn't even say a legacy. You're chasing just, we're here to leave an impact, and not just for our financial gain. We're here to leave an impact on.
Love that. Love that. All right, Kaz, what inspired you to run for mayor?
You know, I just love this city. I love this town, and I have a deep commitment for its future. Like Jason said, it's like hospital, Costco, all of these other opportunities are coming, and I want to be a part of that growth and a part of impacting the community and helping those things come. And also, like, I have a vision for a better 40, something areas to improve infrastructure, to improve economic development, to improve small business engagement, because I think we could thrive with better enhancements there. And I just want to empower the residents. Right now, I feel as though, we say things, but I don't know if they're heard or if they're implemented. So I want to make sure that all voices are heard. And I believe in transparency, accountability, and putting residents first. So that's basically what I'm here for.
I like that. Talked about that having a good time management creates opportunity. You talked about opportunity, responsibility. You talked about the responsibility that you have in these and transparency and accountability, that responsibility. All of y'all understand the weight that comes with this position. That's never going to be glamorous. Mayor, you understand this point. There are people who don't like you just because you're the mayor.
Really?
And it doesn't matter what you do. You can't make everybody happy.
Yeah.
I love the quote, if you want to make everyone happy, you can't be a leader, sell ice cream.
Mhm.
That's the only way to make everybody happy, is just sell ice cream. You can't be a leader because you're going to have to do hard things. And I think what I hear from each one of you in that is just, it's going to require hard things. It's going to require some transparency, some accountability, and taking the opportunities and run forward.
That's it.
So I really appreciate that. All right. So, Kez, I'm going to start with you on this one. We'll go the other direction. If you were elected as mayor, what is the most important thing you would desire to accomplish?
Okay. Um, One of the things that I hear bubbling the most that concerns me is the public safety around here. Just events that are going on at the high school, things that are happening in certain neighborhoods, and how those things are portrayed and how they affect us as citizens who live around here. It's stressful. So my big thing is I want to accomplish public safety and responsible housing policies to help reduce these crime, to protect homeowners and the long-term stability of our neighborhoods. And the way I think we can do that is, Weston's mentioned it about the volunteer police force. I think we can increase police presence and resources by expanding the police force and fire department. I think that we could really enhance the emergency structure infrastructure with the terms of EMS and the responsive times. With us having a hospital, we're going to need to be prepared with better ways to
Absolutely.
transfer and move. And also, one of the things is I want to engage the youth because I feel like if we can engage them to get in programs and to be busy, we can keep them from going in the wrong direction, going astray. So we need to get them engaged. And I want to partner with schools, churches, and just offer mentorship and job training and just support our youth and to go the right direction. And if there's people that are bad apples, I want to point them out too.
So you can be here, but if you're a bad apple, you need to find a new town.
Yes, sir.
You can go north, you can go south, you can go east, whatever you want to go, just go, right?
Yes, sir.
I do really appreciate that just in how do we engage youth, housing responsibility, public safety. I think those are key things that any community has to be built on. Engaging youth in a city that has changed and is rapidly growing continues to be a challenge. And so my challenge to you in that is if you're elected, what does that look like? And I want you to not necessarily tell us tonight, but really have a plan and formula for what is the action out of that and not make it just political talk, but real action.
I like that.
All right. So Weston, if you were going to be elected as mayor, what's the one thing? I mean, if you get to, this is the one thing I'm going to hang my hat on, that this is what I want to see accomplished.
Yeah, so I like to piggyback off the safety aspect, and then it goes into, we had the pleasure of hearing from police yesterday. So we had the pleasure of them gathering in our neighborhood and seeing what we could do as citizens. Like, you know, being a cop, being a cop is hard. Being a firefighter is hard. Anything with first responder is hard, and it's not, again, not a glamorous job. So it's, with the height of social media, there may be some negativity around it, but seeing what I saw yesterday with our residents present in our neighborhood, there needs to be, and there wants a change in how we can help the police. Not necessarily like, hey, let's call. What can we do as a neighborhood? And Forney's going to grow. There's going to be more neighborhoods, and stuff like that is going to spread. So helping the police with that program, as far as reaching out to different neighborhoods to offer that stuff. They are already working on community engagement, and that comes to the youth, like you were talking. Like, it doesn't start as an adult; it starts as a kid. So I've seen towns and I've seen cities, and I've talked to different police officers outside of Forney, and I've seen it with some mentorship outside of Forney, that there's Big Brother programs, and you can get that enacted. Again, it goes to volunteerism, and the more you have volunteers for that, the better it gets. So my big thing is safety, and it is expansion of police, expansion of fire. Now that comes with like budgetary things, and I know that we are working on expanding that right now. But if you look at it, our staffing in the police, it's not very high. But again, not all of that falls on the police department. There's a lot of folks that don't want to be police officers. So how are we going to get them to be? How are we going to make it more of a glamorous thing? And with Forney rising, there's things that can be done that make it more glamorous. But again, it all starts with us as a community backing our first responders.
Yeah, I really like that there's a level of community engagement that goes along with that, and not just saying we need to raise budget for more police, which probably is the case, but also how do we help people be engaged and help them to have a role. I know we've made some huge strides in our police department and in our public safety over the last 3 to 5 years, been some huge strides, and I have so many friends that are police officers on the fire department, and I'm so grateful for what they do. But as the city grows, it's just one of those things that has to continue
Yeah.
to be better, not just bigger, but better.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
Absolutely.
hard. Like it's very hard to be a police officer, whether it be in Forney or
Anywhere,
else.
right?
Yeah.
Mayor, so
Well-
tell us what's the thing that you would like to either that you have. I'll actually change yours, that you have accomplished or you would like to accomplish over the next 2 years.
Right, and the answer is no different. It's public safety. It starts here. That is the cornerstone of all of our growth. It starts with public safety. But I want to be just a little bit more specific here. Part of it is also educating our public on why public safety is so important, because there's a costing to it. We have something called an insurance securities office, and they give out a rating to cities. And our property insurance, it is based on that ISO rating. Right now, Forney has a 1. We're on the verge of going to a 2 because our population has increased so much, but we haven't kept pace with our hiring of firefighters with that. So right now, we need to hire probably about 6 firefighters within the next couple of months before that rating slips down to a 2. So this is when we communicate to the public, we have to let them know if you don't pay now, you'll wind up paying later in terms of higher insurance. You think property tax rates are high? Wait till that insurance goes up. So what we want to do is to make sure that public safety stays at the forefront, not only because it immediately keeps us safe, but it also saves us money in the long run.
I really appreciate your wisdom on that, and it's more than just surface level. There's deeper layers to that, and that are really important in how that works out. If you didn't hear that, they are going to be hiring firefighters here in the next several months. If you're interested, make sure that you check out City of Forney's website. I'm sure there's going to be things posted. They're looking for great people to be in those roles. And it just creates this domino effect, right?
Right.
Of whether it's insurance going up, housing prices going down, that public safety really has a huge role. So with that, let me ask you this question. And Weston, let's start with you with this one. Explain your position and how this plays in with public safety on the potential of a library and the potential of a juvenile detention center.
Sure.
That's a question that we've got asked quite a bit.
Oh, yeah. It's the hot topic in Forney.
It is.
It's a very hot topic. So I'll start with the juvenile detention center, then we'll go into the library. You ask any police officer now, whether it be in Forney, Kaufman County, it's the response rates. So like when you're traveling with a juvenile, some are even going 4 hours out of the way and they got to come back. So if you're looking for a higher response rate, you're not going to get it because they have to drive so far away to like deliver the juvenile. So like in my neighborhood alone, there's been times where people have questioned some of that stuff.
Yeah, why didn't they make the arrest? Why
Correct.
didn't they, something
Or
happen?
not even why couldn't you get here faster?
Okay.
And I have talked to an officer and he said the exact same thing is we are so handcuffed to travel so far away to get them to a detention center that what do you expect? And I totally agree. I think there needs to be one. And if we're all about this response time with our police and fire, that's going to help it tremendously. And if you talk to any first responder, cop, police officer in the area, they're all for it. So why not help them more? If we're all this talk about public safety, that's another part of public safety. So transitioning to a library, I'm for a library. I just would like to see detail. For me as a citizen from growing up to now, we had Ellen Brooks, and we had a library, we had computers there, and my grandma took me there, and I went to high school, so I saw people in and out there, and that was nice. We checked out books there, and it was a fun time. It was something I remember. A library now in 2025 would have to look a lot different. There's books, correct. I think there's some items in a library that can be used outside of just books, whether it be like studios like this or things that people can put on events.
Wait, don't be cutting into my money here, okay? Easy now.
My bad. But like just different things that you can include in a library and still have a library. It's more of a center, and you start them young. We talk about it all the time. A kid starts young; they're not a criminal at 18, and it goes back into safety. And you can find mentors in a library. A lot of people find mentors outside of their home, whether it be in a library or just in their city. And so I'm for it. It just, to me, I would just need a detailed view. And I think Also, Forney would want a detailed view of what that would include and the budget around it and what's going to cost or how we're going to get funding. And have we explored all options of getting it? And I'll be honest with you right now, I don't have those answers. I just,
I appreciate
that's
that.
it.
I think that's one of the things that I've learned in kind of in my journey. It's okay to say I don't know,
Yeah.
but I want to find out the answers.
I've got a perfect thing in my head. Like if I look at it in my head, it's perfect. But
But it doesn't mean it actually works.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I appreciate the honesty in that. Kaz, what about you?
I have some notes, so
No, you're
pardon
good.
me if I actually excuse me. But first and foremost, I think having a juvenile center is important because I think we're having an increase in juvenile crime just because of the growth in the population. So it's probably predominantly younger people that are committing the infractions. But something that I want to say is that instead of rushing to build a juvenile detention center, something that we need to investigate first is with regards to prevention, rehabilitation, alternative sentencing programs to keep these young offenders from becoming lifelong criminals. And this initiative, this can make sure that the youth are held accountable and not just pushed off into some farm to get them to do better because we know that's not always the most proactive way to do it. So I have a three-phase approach that I would like to go through with the terms to juvenile justice reform that I would like to expand on. So first, I guess I've mentioned it earlier, but expanding mentorship programs, local leaders, faith-based groups. We're all Christians in here. We know how important God is. And then launching a first offender program to provide community service, counseling, job training instead of jail time, and increase to access, which we all need, to mental health and family support services. I mean, we got to make sure our thinkers working to make sure that we're making the right decisions and our kids are making the right decisions and we're making the right example. We could also have a Forney Youth Rehabilitation and Holding Center. That would be sort of a mid-range goal before getting a full-blown detention center. And this would just be small scale. It's like a holding center. Weston mentioned Boys and Girls Club, very similar, and established youth work and education programs. And then after we do all of those things to prevent that, we can evaluate the need for a full-blown juvenile detention center and how we'll go about doing it.
I really appreciate the thinking through that and going, okay, what are the different levels, different layers before we have to go there? I appreciate that you've spent some time thinking about that. I'm sure you've done some research on what that looks like.
Definitely.
And really appreciate. I've told a friend, it doesn't matter if you have an opinion if it's not an educated opinion, right? And so part of tonight is making sure that you have an educated opinion on these topics, and so that you can be more educated as in a mayor position, and our citizens can be more educated about the process. Mayor, what about you?
Well, one of the challenges that we have, we're growing so fast, and so we have to have a juvenile detention center. We cannot take our juveniles to Dallas because Dallas has said their centers are for their kids. And we have officers right now going as far east as Marshall, Texas. I mean, we're already short staffed. So they're driving all the way to Marshall to drop off youth. And that's putting a greater strain on our resources here. I've been on record saying that we have to have a juvenile detention center. This is not about locking kids up, but it's about giving them a chance to correct before it's too late.
Okay.
But I've also said that our focus should be keeping kids out of the juvenile detention center. That means front loading the love and attention in facilities like a library or some of the other activities. We've recently mentioned that we are in discussions with the Dallas Stars to be able to look at a facility. So all of these are activities to keep kids engaged. One of the pleasures I've had of being a mayor is going to schools. I think I've visited every single elementary school here in Forney. And usually at the end of the presentation, I kind of allow the kids to kind of shout out, what would you like to see here in Forney? And you know what? I pay attention to that. They can't vote, but I want to be able to be family first and make sure that we are checking off some of their wish lists.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, a library is at the top of the list. We need more places for volleyball and basketball, bounce houses, skating rinks, all of that. And we'll do the best we can. The way that these developments work, is that the city council, we take ideas and suggestions from the community. Then we turn that over to the city manager and city staff to be able to help us work out the details of financing. And so details are being worked out, even though we can't publicly share them right now. But I can say, and this is not a knock on the other candidates because they just haven't had the privilege of having information, but we have plans in place to be able to build this library with no property tax increase, and that is a blessing. In Forney, we have among the lowest property tax rate in all of North Texas, definitely the lowest in Kaufman County, and I'm proud of that. But we're going to have to, we want to be able to build and still keep that property tax rate. That's the goal.
Yeah, everybody says, man, my property taxes are so high. Can't y'all fix this? Can't y'all get rid of this?
Go to Collin County.
Yeah, and knowing
or just go to Terrell. I mean,
Absolutely.
Terrell, yeah, you'll pay a lot more there.
that the price of housing in Forney is actually pretty good. The pricing of our tax rate is really good in comparison to other places. And so when you take a little bit broader scope and you start looking around, yes, it's high, but it's actually cheap in comparison.
Right.
And so I do appreciate how you said that it's hard to know all the details that are going on behind the scenes. There's always things happening. I think when you're 16 and you have that first job and you're going, hey, if only the boss knew what I knew. The boss does know what you know, right? He knows more than you, and you just don't see it all. And I think that's one of the things that, for me, as I've grown to understand, there's always more moving parts than I can see. There's always more restrictions. There's always things that keep you from moving forward for whatever reason that are beyond any one person.
Right.
Yeah.
Nick,
All right. Yes, go ahead.
and on that, if you want to learn more about both, there are meetings that are held in certain places.
Absolutely.
There's one on Monday. If you want to know more about the library, there's one on Monday. It's on Facebook. Are we good to say where it's at?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's at Stashes at 7:00 on Monday. Everyone's welcome to attend if you want to know more.
And shout out to Stashes, who is the largest public library in Forney right now.
Correct. Yeah, we visited that library today. But on the juvenile, there's commissioner videos that you can watch as well. Now, I understand it's during the week, and maybe the last thing you want to do is watch a meeting like that, or if you want to watch a city council meeting. But I highly recommend, if you want to know more of what's going on in our town, watch the videos. There's a man, I don't know his name. You know his name? That videos him. That videos the meetings.
No.
There's a gentleman that videos all those meetings, and he's there every evening or every meeting.
Oh, in the city council?
Yes.
Lenny.
Lenny. Okay,
Yeah.
so Lenny's there, and he's been in
faithful.
a lot of meetings. He's doing it a long time. You can watch those, or you can just prop your phone up if you're stuck on 80 traffic and listen to it like you do a podcast. It's only one day a week or 2 days a month. And I mean, that's what I did on Tuesday, and I just sat
No
in
one
traffic.
ever gets stuck on 80. I don't understand what you're talking
Oh my
about.
goodness! Oh my goodness! But yeah, it's a good way to kill time, and it's a good way to listen and figure out what's going on. So.
Okay, so I'm just going to make it. I'm not even going to ask y'all this question. I'm just going to make a note. That is U.S. Highway 80. The city of Forney has nothing to do with
Correct.
it. Okay, so if you're going, why isn't the city improving Highway 80? It's not ours.
Say it again for the people in the back. So
Yeah, it does not belong to the city. There's nothing the city can do there. It's not even a state road. That is U.S. Highway 80. Then all of our roads, 741, 740, 1641, 548, all these major roads are all TxDOT roads, which means they're not city roads as well. So before you ask, well, why isn't the city fixing all the congestion issues, the infrastructure? Well, a lot of those roads don't belong to us.
Right.
And so it's a frustration,
Right.
but it's not a frustration with city council. It's really a state issue.
It took our church years with TxDOT, and we were right on 6040.
Yeah. And you're just one of 10,000 projects
Right.
for the state, right? Is that accurate?
that's it. No,
Okay.
you're right on. You're
So,
right. Now, one of the things that we can do is be loud. We have to work together. All the mayors, Forney, Kaufman, Terrell, we all go to Austin every year, Kaufman County Day. We make sure that our voice is heard. We are the fastest growing county in the nation.
So
And
show us a little love, again, right?
Yeah, we have to flex our muscles a little bit and let them know that, hey, we're growing fast and we demand attention. And it takes that concerted effort to be able to get the attention of TxDOT. think finally we're on their map and they're showing us some love. You can see the construction crews out there when you go down. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
All right. So those were your easy questions. I'm gonna throw you some hard questions now. And Jason, we're just gonna go right back to you. So here's what I'm gonna tell you on these questions. These were questions that were sent in. Either people text me, email me, send me a message on Facebook. They've messaged Jenny. They've made comments on the different posts for this event. So I know part of these questions are rumors, half truths, which are lies, gossip, all kinds of crazy questions. And they're never the full story. I understand that. I understand what I'm asking you, okay? But I want to be just transparent, just like y'all want to be transparent. Here's some of the questions we asked. So I'm going to ask you some hard questions. So Jason, we'll just start off with you. It has been said that, I'm going to read this because I want to make sure I read this right.
Let's go.
It has been said that you have been, quote, radio silent regarding social media and city events until it's campaign time again. Recently, you've posted about city progress, including possible Star Center in Forney. What would you say to the people who are saying you're just playing the political game?
I can't please everybody. What I will say, though, is that the bar for slander and libel, it's so high for a public official. So there's really nothing I can do to defend myself. They could say that Jason came from aliens. I just have to kind of grin and bear. I don't like social media, but I do know that it's important around campaign season to let people know who you are. And anybody who's running for office, I recommend them to let people know, hey, if you roll with me, these are some of the things that I hope to be able to do for you. So, yeah, there is a part of it that I'm running for office. And so I want to make sure that all the things that we've been working on behind the scenes, I get a chance to let you know about it. We have tons of projects that are ongoing all the time. And it's kind of like a doctor doing rounds with patients. You kind of see which one is at which stage of recovery before, they're ready to be ready to leave the hospital. I'm looking at all the different projects and different things we've got going on, and I'm looking, seeing which ones can we talk about right now. Some of them are not ready. We've got even more that I can't even speak about because they're not even ready to,
And there's legal reasons that you can't talk about it. It's not because I'm just, I don't want to tell anybody. I want to keep this in my back pocket as a secret. There's legal reasons for that.
And let me also say that we have to be careful how we present it because there are cavemen. There's a Forney cave, and that's citizens against virtually everything, right? and the cave is dangerous, and they have some leaders, strong leaders. And in order to protect these great projects from the Forney cavemen, before we even get a chance to fully release them, we want to make sure that we have all of our ducks lined up.
I had to write that down. Citizens against virtually everything. Listen, if I want to talking to the camera for a second. If you only gain followers by complaining, you're only gaining negative attention. You're not gaining followers. You're really just gaining these cavemen. So work to find the positive, work to find how you can be helpful and move things forward than just complaining. So, sorry, that was my own rant. So, we've got to figure out how to make it better, not just complain about the problem. And I think that's a little bit, can't say everything, can't make everybody happy. There's always more things going on. All right, Kaz, tough question for you. Number one, you ready for this?
Yes, sir.
All right. This question came in 2 years ago. You ran for mayor of Forney. During that campaign, you did very little to be noticed, tell people who you are, or even show up for certain events. Can you explain those actions then and why this is different?
Certainly. That's an excellent question. I'm new to this. In terms of the political environment and what all goes among that, this last time was my first time I ran for city council, and I did not have any idea what I was doing. So that's why I didn't have much signage. I didn't have a lot of support. So really, it was a learning game. So now this time is for me to perfect the science. So I do plan on being at events. I plan on being vocal. I plan on putting my name out there and showing that I'm not just here to take a picture. I'm here to make change. And I want to support the community in doing that. And I'd like to support that.
All right, very good. I appreciate that. I think everything is a learning curve. And so I appreciate your honesty in that. All right, Weston, here's one of the hard questions for you. Before becoming mayor, Jason served on city council. Kaz has served on the board of adjustment as well as building and standards committee. Can you explain why you have not served in any other city government roles before running for mayor?
For sure. So with Forney's city limits, we talked about it. Our house in Forney was not in the city limits.
Okay.
So it was right by the old high school, about a minute away. Still not in the city limits. So you know the rules on that. Besides that, the timing for what I could do for a city versus a work or whatever life was putting me through just wasn't the right time. Now, like if people know who I am personally, they know my story and kind of the things I've gone through, and I can guarantee you right now that at a time where I could have served, you wouldn't want me. That's just the honest truth. If you know some of the things I've gone through, I wouldn't have been a good leader or a good volunteer. I could have volunteered, but it would have been very, very lackadaisical to put it the least. I had priorities in my life mixed up at that time, and it just wasn't the right time. And Forney deserved better. And to be quite frankly, it was an embarrassing time for me. Like as any young person goes through, like you go through things, and I've had to grow and learn and become a better person, and that's all thanks to a community, a mentor, and God. Like my journey through like sobriety, like I wouldn't have done it without a mentor. So I guarantee you that y'all wouldn't have wanted. I don't think anybody would have wanted me. So right now is the perfect time for me. And again, outside of this, if it doesn't happen, there's gonna be other times that you'll see me. It's not for mayor. Like Forney's still Forney, and it needs help. So you'll see me around. Like
I appreciate your
Yeah.
vulnerability in that, and just not going all the way into your story, but sharing us a little bit that everybody's been on this journey. You have your highs and lows of
Yeah.
life. There's different seasons of immaturity and stupid decisions that every single one of us have made. There's no one throwing stones here, right?
No.
Hey, can I say that I appreciate that testimony, and man, we've all had a rock bottom moment, and Weston can attest to this. That when you're at rock bottom, God still has an office down there.
Mhm.
Am I right?
Yeah.
And the fact that you've been able to pick yourself up and still put your name in the hat, and run for mayor, that's very, very honorable.
Yeah.
I'm proud to be able to run against you.
Yeah, it's
Thank
not like, and again, it's not for me. It's we're here for God. Like, if anybody who is listening, maybe not be as religious or not, follow that kind of way, then I can tell you right now, it's a great way to follow. And my life's saved for it, and a lot of people lives are saved through it. A lot of the greatest leaders are saved through God. So we have one sitting right next who's godly. Everyone I feel like I've talked to in the city, Christian based, and it's just it's a different experience. And through that, it teaches you that you do want to give back, and it's not for you; it's for God.
I really appreciate that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing that. One of the other things I'll just point out is you said you lived less than a mile from the high school,
Mhm.
which was outside the city. I would really encourage people go look online and look at the city map. It is really shocking. Me and Jenny were talking about this yesterday, and she goes, "Wait, that's not part of the city. That's not part of the city. The city of Forney is like this big.
Correct.
Forney ISD is this big, and so you think I go to North Forney or I go to Forney High School, you may not be inside the city. You're probably not inside the city limits. So the city's here,
Yep.
Forney ISD is here, the county's bigger than that. And so understanding that there's certain people who can't run because you may have lived closer to downtown than most people, but you couldn't,
Yeah.
you weren't inside the city.
And,
Yeah.
and we have some donuts
Oh,
within the
some
city,
really
some
weird-
holes that
It's-
are not incorporated into the city.
Very odd. And like, I live a mile from my parents, and they're not.
Yeah.
So,
All right, very good. See where we are here. All right, Kaz, question to you. You are relatively the newcomer in terms of time that you've lived in Forney here. What makes you qualified to lead?
I am a newcomer to Forney, but I am a true long-term East Texan, born and raised in Lufkin, went to school outside of Houston at Prairie View A&M. In terms of my leadership capacity, I feel like I was born to lead. I love having responsibility. I'm taking on this endeavor so that I can be more impactful In my daily job as a bank examiner doing risk management examinations for community banks, I'm always leading as examiner in charge, as operations manager, reviewing loans, reviewing budgets, projecting changes to the markets, looking at liquidity, and making calls on that. So, and providing these ratings to banks and improvements and giving them details on how to enhance their operations. So I think inherently my day-to-day job makes me a leader, and it fosters that experience every day. And then on top of that, I am taking steps in my church to be a leader. I'm forming a life group. I'm a part of other things, serving in the kids ministry, trying to show a good example for them, greeting people at the door. I want to be the leader that reflects, like Weston said, God. I want that image to be given to them. This isn't for me. It's whatever His will is. If I win, I win. But either way, I'm gonna lead faithfully and honestly.
Very good. I appreciate that. Yeah, I think there is a little bit of misnomer that it takes so much time in the community to make you qualified. That may be important, but it may not be the only thing that's important. So I appreciate that. All right, Weston, how would you balance the growth of attracting large companies and growing the small businesses in Forney? And what would you do to promote both?
With that, I strongly believe that the big companies are going to see Forney's growth, and they're going to come. They're going to see the population. They're going to see how fast we're growing. And Jason may know more than me about that, of course, but I see those businesses coming. It's hard to survive as a small business. So
Yes.
I have owned a business in Forney, sold it, but it was hard. It was very hard to keep going. It's very hard to stay motivated, and it's very hard. If we didn't have word of mouth, we wouldn't survive. Like and you're just running off two people, and two people who are broke. It's hard to survive. Like word of mouth saved us, and our community saved us. And I'm not talking about like council or anything like that. I'm talking about our community of people and the word of mouth. But that's the big thing with small businesses. They need more recognition. Marketing's hard. Marketing's expensive, and there's a lot of people that can afford to keep their business afloat and make certain profit margins. But that marketing, it costs astronomical. I just did some for my gym in Dallas, and it was for just a little bit, thousands of dollars.
Yes.
And small businesses cannot afford that. And for me, going downtown and seeing what it's offering and going further into downtown, like where Brookshire's in, and still seeing small businesses there that I graced when I was a little baby, seeing still afloat, it's inspiring. And again, it takes a community to keep those afloat. Like there's not a lot of advertising for that. And seeing city leaders in those, it helps them. It helps them more than you could ever know. And seeing city leaders like do readings at like I'll point one out. A city councilwoman did a reading at Stashes. That's a big deal. Like it helps, and people notice that stuff. Like people that aren't even from Forney notice that, and they're like, "Oh, she actually took time out of her day to read." I wish my city councilwoman would do that. It's noticeable, and a councilwoman was at our community center yesterday with us, and she doesn't even live there. So it's nice to see leaders involved in that kind of thing, because sometimes the small business just think you don't care. It's
Okay,
like,
so let me push a little harder on this,
Mhm.
okay? Because you talk about the small business. I
Mhm.
think there's so many small businesses here in Forney that need that support, need that
Right.
help, need that little bit of recognition. What about how do you balance that with large corporations moving in?
like as far as the threat of them coming in to
Yeah,
hurt them.
Well, whatever that looks like. I'm kind of leaving that open ended for you.
Yeah, I think it's the big corporations are going to survive. We saw that during COVID. It's more of a threat to the small business mom and pop. So having city events near those places drives revenue. Anything you can do to put attention on those places. Like there's things that the city has done in front of those small businesses where you can balance that shift to the commercial place, and then it shifts people there. Because I can tell you, like, there was, when I was a kid, there was Christmas in the park in Forney, and I know they do Christmas now in Forney, I believe that's correct. Like Drop the Ball with us and things like that. People want to go to that stuff, and they want to see downtown. And every small town has a historic downtown. And that's what the Forney locals and the people that move to Forney want to see. Like when we travel to small places, the first thing we go to is not a Walmart, it's their downtown. And that highlighting that is a key aspect to helping those people.
Very good. All right. Jason,
Sir.
we've got Costco coming. I think they've said Target and Home Depot, HEB, all these bigger. What would you say you have done to help strengthen and promote small businesses in Forney, maybe even specifically in downtown historic district of Forney?
Yeah, so HEB, Costco, the Home Depot, they don't need our marketing. They have $1 million marketing, so they're good, and they have the benefit of access. One of the things that we proposed, I talked with one of the owners of the shop, Hannah Bateman, and there was an idea that floated around of us taking on some of their marketing expenses, maybe like from the city site, to better advertise, their location and what they're doing. Because the larger companies, they don't. And I would like to be able to do more. I don't think we have done enough. We definitely need to do.
Has there been any more discussion on what that would actually look like, what the action is out of that versus just the theory of it?
I don't know where it is. I know that we broached a topic, but I'm not sure where we're at on it right now.
Because we have some amazing business owners downtown. You mentioned Hannah.
Well, one of the things that she has done, which is really cool, and we talk about the advantages of the small business owners, that she's able to buy based upon her knowledge of Forney, right? When Target comes in, they don't know.
Just blanket.
Right. But she knows the community, right? And she's able to find eclectic pieces. My wife and daughter, they bought some earrings from her shop. Must have been about a year ago. I tell them to go back because we're going to support Forney. But they had such a great experience because they found something small there that was in their budget at the moment that they couldn't find anywhere else. And so that's the benefit of having shops like that.
On those,
Hannah, you're welcome.
Yeah, and she's not the only one that,
Yeah,
it's
there are others.
Hannah, it's Maverick Chiropractor, there's
Right.
Stashes, there's Latham, there's Mama Daughters,
Right.
all those just downtown places that really have been staples for a long time, that are great people, have been committed to our community for a long time.
Yeah.
on that small business front, we also, again, just talked about social media, how negative it can be. But if you have a page that has a following, like you have council pages, city pages that just have Facebooks, that's free marketing. You have a page. We have pages that have tons of following, like 1,000 followers, 1,500 followers. Got influencer programs. Like we do Madre Saturday on my Facebook. We go to Madre's every Saturday. We post it, and it's our Saturday trip. So we want to do that more. It was just something we did as just husband and wife. It's not something for any kind of gain. So like they're our friends. They are our friends. They did my wedding. They've done everything for me as a kid. So why not repay that favor? And same thing with Maverick. If you use those businesses, promote those businesses. Like
Absolutely.
I'm not recommending someone I don't know. I'm recommending the guy that's helping my back. I'm recommending the woman that's helping my child's posture and the latch. I'm recommending businesses that make an impact on my life so they can make an impact on other lives. And I'm sure everyone else here does too.
Yeah.
So that's a big thing, is our social media pages.
So I think that's huge. I really appreciate you saying that, supporting those local businesses personally, and from a position and personally, being able to do that, just knowing that it is hard running a small business, growing your marketing, knowing how to grow your marketing. You said, I don't even know how to do a campaign. A year ago, you talked about the same thing. I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah.
And so if you're a small business in Forney, we want to be able to help you. Make a little shameless plug. I'd love to be able to help you if you want help with marketing. Jenny Watson does all my marketing. She is killing it right now. And so there are strategic things that you can do. But a lot of people are great at trades, but they're not great at business. So how do we help them to grow that next level?
Yeah. And I've seen, and Jenny, her following, like she got
she's-
hot works on that thing.
Yeah.
Like if I told her, I was like, you live rent free in my head for your no skips. Like the
Absolutely.
journey with that is like, I go to the gym and I hear no skips. And just like there's the gym over on 1641, there's a local guy runs it, Paul with Titan. Like that's all social media based. You know, it's big social media platforms, and hearing those testimonies gets you there.
Hey, big shout out to these small businesses. Hopefully that you will like and subscribe this, and hopefully this really does help you. These are great people. They're not just a corporation, people out there somewhere. The big stores employ a lot of people, but these are people who are making their home and their family, and they're dependent upon you using their business.
Yeah.
Okay, just a little soapbox. Never ask for a deal from your buddy who owns a business.
Right.
You don't ask Target for a discount, right? So why would you ask your buddy for a discount? Pay him full price. If he wants to give you a discount, let him give you the discount, but you pay full price.
And if they make
It's
a
important.
mistake, give them another chance.
Yeah,
give
absolutely.
McDonald's chances all the time.
Absolutely. Yeah. I can go on that soapbox. We will move on. All right. A couple more minutes here. Just real quickly. Wes, I'll just go to you first. How does your lack of experience impact your ability to lead? And how do you overcome that?
Lack of experience with this position.
Within city government.
Yeah. I think that we're blessed with certain resources that can help us where we lack. So in my business now, if I am lacking something, I have an advisor. So, hey, I don't know what to do here. What would you advise me to do so I can bring it back? And I think that's what we're blessed with in Forney is we have advisors as far as our council. We have planning and zoning. We have certain people we can go to if we don't have the answer. And that's a big thing. I think people respect the fact when you say, I'm going to be real honest with you, I don't have that answer. I'll tell you what, I'll have the answer for you in 7 days. You can quote me on that, and here's the day I'll have it for you. Let me talk to the right people. I just don't have it right now. I think that level of transparency with anybody at this table, with anybody that you meet, is way more respectful than coming up with a nonsense.
Kaz, question for you is there anything that you have specifically done to impact, influence, support small businesses here in Forney?
I frequent them. I go to the dentist here in Forney. I work out at Anytime Fitness here in Forney. I go to Lake Point Church here in Forney. I've been to Precision Sports Physical Therapy for 6 months, getting my back better in Forney. My doctors are in Forney. I'm supporting Forney all the way. I go to Walmart here. I work from home, so I don't even go to Dallas. So Forney's the only place that gets my dollars.
Very good. I appreciate that. All right. Last question, Jenny, if you have any questions for us, that anybody that's come on that has any questions, we want to be able to answer those briefly if we have time, if you have anything for me. Jason, question for you is, what was the most surprising thing as you went through this process and become mayor? What was, here's a question I like to ask in interviews. I don't like being surprised. Tell me what I'm going to be surprised with if you start working for me for 6 months. In 6 months, what am I going to be surprised by? Tell me now. So what were you most surprised by, or you felt like there was more learning curve than you ever understood?
I'll be honest with you. My faith got strong. I have a thick skin. I always thought I had a thick skin. But when you're in the position, what you're signing up for is to put a bullseye on you. You know, it's not a woe is me type of a statement, but there was a learning curve in understanding that the definition of libel is so high and slander. I mean, people can make up quotes and everything. You just have to grin and bear it. And so I've learned how to trust in God, how to hold my peace. The legal understanding of what slander and libel is, that keeps me quiet. Also, there's scripture that I lay hold to, Proverbs 18:2. A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his own opinion. So, you know, scriptures like that allow me to stay calm and stay the course. Now, you have to be able to do that while still being open to criticism. And we're all married. I've been married 22 years. So, you know, that helps out a lot. I'm reminded every day of where, you know, things I can improve on. So I think it's a balance of both of those. Being able to understand where can I improve, but also being able to silence out the negativity.
It's good. Because you're never going to make everybody happy, right? You're going to be responsible. You're going to take blame. You're going to hold the weight of all those things. I'm going to, just for time's sake, I'm going to skip that question, but I'm going to go to that last question that you had for me. You had one more there. Just holding up signs behind. All right. So I do really appreciate you guys. And what you said there is you really are putting a bullseye on you and your family on many different levels, many different layers. Your wife and your kids have to carry that weight. Maybe your little kid, she's going to be okay. She's not going to have the weight that you're carrying right now.
Cheat code.
But they have to carry those weights as well. So I do appreciate your willingness to volunteer, to be in this position, to run, to go through the gauntlet of it all when it is really about a lot of sacrifice. So I just want to tell you, I appreciate you willing to put yourself out there. So let's just start here. Give us 90 seconds. You can look at that camera right there and just say why you are the right choice for Mayor of Forney.
I think I'm the right choice because I'm committed, I'm dedicated, I'm motivated. I have tons of energy, too much for this city and the next one over. So you're never going to see me sedentary or sitting beside the top. I have no desire for publicity or fame. I'm here to learn. So if I'm not the best choice at front, I'm gonna work to listen, to learn, and to become the best choice. I'm here for growth, and I'm here to support you all in whatever your endeavors may be, and that's basically it. So I'm just here to support folks around here, and I think I'm a good person to do it.
Very good. Weston?
Sure. For me, the town basically has given me everything and asked nothing in return. So, born and raised here again, I have dealt with a lot of things, but I've also been aided by this town and the people in it. So for me, it's more of now it's my turn to give back to you. So again, all my appreciation goes to this town and everything that I've become as a man outside of this. It does go to the town and the people in it and the mentors in it. So now for me, it's my turn to serve you. And again, if that's not the way, then I'm still here to serve you in other capacities. So if this is not what the city needs, I'll pray for the leader that's elected, and I'll pray for the council below them and the city as a whole. But I'm still here. If you need something, just message me. Most of you got my number. If you don't, you have me on Facebook. So again, I'm just here for you.
Very good. Mayor, Jason, tell us why, just 90 seconds, why you are the right person for the next several years.
Well, I believe there's an alignment in skill set and passion. I've enjoyed serving as mayor. We have accomplished quite a bit. Just drive down Highway 80. Campaign signs are up. HEB, Costco, the hospital's coming. I want to be able to help see these projects through fruition. It's been an honor to serve, and I'd love to be able to keep it going. Thank you.
Very good. Gentlemen, I really do appreciate you. I've really enjoyed getting to know you through this process and hearing a little bit back from you tonight. I hope that this has been good for you and good for our community and good for our city to know a little bit more about who you are and your vision and how you plan to lead. A couple of things I would just kind of personally say is thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I would love the opportunity that whoever is elected to have a once a month podcast that we just talk about leading Forney forward, a little bit of communicating with the city about what's going on. And so that you don't get that attack of, oh, now you're just telling us because it's campaign season. But really helping the communication that brings about transparency, that brings about some responsibility and helping everyone to be better informed in the process. And then just knowing that everything rises and falls on leadership. So you put some big weights on your shoulders. City council does that as well. City manager, all these people carry big weights. Everybody in our community carries big weights and different weights for things that they're going through. And so as we move forward, we have to not only get bigger, but we have to be better. And I know I hear your heart through those things, and I'm very grateful for it. Thank you again for choosing to be a part of tonight. I'm so grateful that you have logged on and been with us here at My Leadership Coach. We want to continue to help you to be best informed. And I would encourage you, any of you, if you want to do a one-on-one sit down and have some more discussion about what this looks like, I'd love to be a part of that with you. Just know that as the leader gets better, everyone around them gets better, because better is always better. Thank you again for joining us tonight. Make sure that you follow My Leadership Coach and 410 Studios for updates. Thanks again. Have a great night.